exam, the controversy over headscarves in Karnataka has intensified, with students defying the government order to use uniform clothing to maintain unity and equality. Now, tomorrow is a crucial court hearing. The Chief Minister has appealed for peace. Let me just quickly, as you can see from these images, these protests have expanded. So you've got women, students in hijabs saying that, look, let me in, I want to study. And you've got a counter protest of young men with saffron scarves saying that if they wear that, then I can do this as well, because we can all do whatever we want since it all has some sort of a religious basis, as these Muslim women in hijabs say that it does. So joining us on this, Mihra Sood, Geeta Bhatt and Salman Soz. Ms. Bhatt, let me come to you first. Geeta ji, today the problem is hijabs. Where does this end? You know, tomorrow somebody will say a Sikh student cannot wear a turban, a Hindu student cannot have a bindi, you know, somebody cannot wear a kada. Why get into this at all?
Vishnuji, thanks for having me on your show. And these recent developments in Karnataka schools, I must say, these developments, they are a very designed controversy. There is nothing organic about, these protests. And this is basically about an individual's choice of covering her face being imposed over an institution's right to decide on a dress code. Now, as far as, there are those who are coming out in support of this and saying, that this is part of their religious practices. Let me just tell you that, in 2019, one of the biggest educational societies in south of India, Muslim Education Society, in 2019, it is a society which has got more than 100 institutions, professional courses, schools, etc., not only in India but abroad. They banned, covering of face in their institutions, and their president of the society.
No, but does that necessarily make it right? Hijab is banned in educational institutions in many parts of the world. Does that mean it's necessarily right?
You see, the point is
in France, even outside.
You see, Vishnuji, just let me complete. You see, why I'm saying is that it is being portrayed as if it is a part of a religious practice. So there are institutions which are, Muslim institutions which have been saying,
all right, that's a separate point and we'll debate that.
Give me just 10 seconds more. I want to just put forth one or two more points, related to it. That there are people who have been saying that in south of India, it is only before, 2 quarters, nobody even knew that, what wheels are, because this is more of an Arabic culture practice.
All right.
Covering your face, it is not something which is a part of an Indian culture.
I'm only interrupting you because it's only fair. You've raised points. These are all debatable. Salman, let me come to you next. Did any of those girls, women, appear to be coerced? And therefore, when Geeta ji says that this is part of a political effort or some sort of an effort on top, do you believe that they've fallen into some sort of a trap? Did they appear to be coerced? Salman, you're on mute. Will you just unmute yourself?
So, Vishnu, I don't, these are fantasies that the BJP is propagating, because I'm shocked in some ways that a woman should not stand up and say, I want to defend the right of these girls to get an education. In a country where female labor force participation rates are languishing at 20% or below, whereas China is at about 65%, this is what they're telling our children. Research suggests that girls getting an education means that they marry later, they're healthier when they get married, they have healthier children, and that is good for the economy.
Right. So the bottom line is education.
Listen to me. Countries are losing $15 to $30 trillion over the life of these women when they do not have enough education and economic opportunities. So the Prime Minister should be standing up and saying, I had the slogan, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. How dare you? How dare you stop these girls from getting an education? They're my daughters. I may not have my own daughter.
Okay,
but
Mihra,
they are my children.
All right, Mihra, go ahead with the point that you're mentioning. Yes.
So
Salman, half a sec. Mihra, I just wanted to come in. Yeah.
Vishnu, the anti-hijab activists are making 3 arguments. Fig leaves, but let's take it at face value. 3 arguments. uniformity, secularism, and women's rights. Now let's take this one by one. If you want uniformity, do not single out one religion. Ban every religious symbol. Is anybody coming out and saying we will ban turbans, bindis, kadas, vibhuti, caste marks, and anything else? No, nobody has the guts to say that. So there is no question of uniformity. This argument of uniformity is absolute hogwash. Secondly, secularism. What does secularism say? Treat all religions equally. You cannot have an arbitrary uniform law that suddenly comes up and says only headscarves are barred. But if somebody drapes a dupatta over their head, it's not barred. That's not secularism. And thirdly, the fig leaf of women's rights that is being raised. I mean, first of all, as Salman pointed out, there's nothing to suggest coercion. The women themselves are saying, we want to wear this. This is our right. But also, and it's ironic, you cannot on the one hand say women's empowerment and then say, deny them their own education. You want, even if you think that hijab is forced, let's even take that argument at face value. Okay. The best way to counter forced hijab is to educate women. This is the government that trumpets Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, but is denying women education in the name of empowerment. There can be nothing more ironic than that. And coming to Geeta's point about these are staged protests, there is something suspicious about the timing of all of this. There is something suspicious about the timing of all of this. There's something suspicious about the timing of them suddenly being banned from entering when they've been wearing it all along. And let me also point out that talking about full face covering and hijab are two very different debates, as we have seen. Okay?
All right, okay, lots of points over there. Geeta ji, also as you respond...
Also because people are wearing masks.
Right. So as you respond to Salman and Mihira, Geeta ji, also look at what the law says. This has been settled, in fact, in courts. Article 25 guarantees the freedom of religion, the freedom of choice with respect to headdress, to dresses based on religious injunctions. And this has been affirmed by the Supreme Court in a 1954 decision. So therefore, you know, what's wrong with what these students were doing? We can debate the merits of, you know, of hijab and whether it should be worn and what it symbolizes elsewhere. But right now it seems to be just an effort at denying this to them.
Yeah, Vishnuji, that is 2:1, so please give me, you know, some more time to say. Yeah. So, Vishnuji, first point that I want to make here is that, you know, time and again, like you are mentioning, there are also High Court judgments in Kerala High Court in 2019. Similar case came where a Muslim girls had gone who were studying in Christian school, and they were not allowed to wear a hijab, and the court said that while these students have full right of, you know, covering their face or dress up the way they want to dress up, but they're not at the cost of annihilating the right of an institution to decide on a dress code. Now, let me tell you that there is, and this projection which is being false projection of that, it is about denying girls from educating, not at all. It is a free country. If one particular school is not has a particular dress code which does not suit your individual choice, there are other schools where this might be a part of a dress code. No, so you can go and study over there in the universities. I'm coming to that. I mean, please, Vishnuji, please let me complete. Please let me complete. While there are, you know, Islamic countries where women are, you know, burning their hijab, saying that we want freedom for it, there are few in this country, so-called liberals, who when the Sabrimala judgment had come, which actually was the right of the deity to decide that who enters his temple, those who were hailing it as women's empowerment are today saying, no, wearing the hijab is a women's empowerment. That also is, you know, is one, contradiction which is coming over here. The point over here is that even 2 days back in Kerala, there are, student volunteers from schools who go to the Kerala police as volunteers. There again, Muslim girls have said that we want to cover our face. And the Kerala government has denied it, that they have to wear a prescribed uniform. They will not be allowed.
All right, so 1 second, that entire issue of prescribed uniform, there's a law also above that. Meera, 30 seconds. Salman is going to suffer because there won't be enough time for him. But Meera, go ahead.
Okay, all right. First of all, this issue of liberals being confused, saying one thing for Sabrimala, one thing here, that's not true. The issue at the heart of both of them is a woman's agency and the woman's right to choose. All right, that's what the right-wing government is denying. And let's not confuse what the Kerala High Court said in respect of a Christian institution, as under law, minority institutions may have regulations that government-funded institutions, public institutions like these PU colleges cannot have. So there is no comparison.
Okay, no comparison over there.
So that means one minority minority is right and other minority is right are also a contradiction. So one minority is
All right,
right.
Salman, literally 20 seconds, please.
So I think, look, Geeta ji, the point is, I understand what is happening in India. Basically, there's a constant marginalization of Muslims. I think this is part of the same trajectory. Let us not beat around the bush. This is about making Muslims second-class citizens because that is what RSS and BJP think will lead to Hindu Rashtra. There's nothing else.
Okay,
So
you
let's
made your point, Salman,
Just
and I will need to debate this later on. I am out of time. This is the problem of television. I apologize. Lots of views coming in. Samir Thakur has written, he says, why is the college and the state focusing more on attire rather than studies? Manohar Mahato says, and the attire has nothing to do with studies. Perhaps that, in fact, as it's been mentioned in our debate, should be the only priority. Out of time. Goodbye.